Good evening. So, like I said, today is hashtag NTV on the road, and we are live at Fort Jesus. And with me is one of the curators at Fort Jesus, and her name is Fatma, and she'll be telling us a little bit more about this World Heritage Site. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
So, I got a chance to speak to you earlier, but then I want to share the information that we discussed. And one of them was you've been doing this for quite a number of years. You've been working with the Kenya National Museum. So, introduce yourself, tell us how long you've been working for them, and why you chose this particular job as your way to go.
My name is Fatma Tahir. I've been trained as an architect, and I was further trained in environmental engineering. I joined the museum as an architect to facilitate in rehabilitating buildings that were old into giving them new functions. Later on, I was given the position to manage Mamangina site, and after around 3-4 years, I was managing the Mombasa Old Town Conservation Area, which later, with some experience in that area, brought me towards being a curator for Jesus.
Okay.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about Fort Jesus, assuming, because there is definitely people who have never been here. I didn't come here until I was 22 years old, and I've lived in Kenya all my life.
Okay.
And I came here, and you view the site, and you're like, how have I never thought of coming to this World Heritage Site? So tell us a bit about Fort Jesus for those who've never been here.
First and foremost, as you said, Fort Jesus is a World Heritage Site built by Portuguese in the late 16th century. And it has stood the test of time. It has been as is for the past 420 years. Nothing has changed. That's why it has its unique architectural form and changing functions despite the change in guard. In the 17th century, we saw the Omanis coming in, and in the 19th century, the British came in. But the building has stood as is with its unique architecture and construction technique. So it's something to wonder about and to learn from as a structure in itself. Yes.
Do you mostly get domestic tourists or international tourists here?
We have both local and international tourists coming in, depending on the times, because during school holidays, April, August, December, we receive a lot of school groups. And in the event that the school book in advance, we have an opportunity to provide them with extra training upon the request of the school on particular topics relevant to their history or social studies.
Okay.
So it becomes really relevant to have a practical experience on what they are learning in school right here on site.
What does it take to maintain a site like this?
Wow, a lot. Of course, I have to work with a team. There's the building itself, because as I said earlier, 400 plus years, there are places where it requires a lot of maintenance, rehabilitation. There is an aspect of public relation, ticketing, so we have to have staff that would welcome the visitors and make sure they have a well-deserved visit and a memorable one, so that they can come back and inform other visitors too about coming over. We also have of course, last but not least, the cleaning crew that makes sure this place is spick and span, because without them, nobody would want to come to a dirty site.
Yes.
So basically, it's teamwork, and without any one of them, it wouldn't work.
So speaking of the cleaning crew and the staff that are here, one of the things that the Fort Jesus is known for is working with the community. So what are some of the projects you deal with as far as the community goes?
One of the main things that we've decided to leave to the community is guiding tours within the Fort Jesus. We have trained the community within Old Town. They have registered themselves, and they are the ones who give tours to whoever wants to have a guided tour. So we keep training them continuously so that they can portray the information that we'd want to be portrayed to the public. But they are the ones that are wholly responsible, and they benefit economically from this kind of an activity.
How long would it take to train to learn all the details you need to know so that you can be a guide who will tell the factual information about what actually happened here and what every single bit of the site entails?
Not too long, not too long, because we have education officers who keep training them. And the better guides are the ones who keep reading up on materials that you may not verbally be told about,
All right.
be interested in finding small little details on archaeology and building types and tree types that are existing in this place. So the more you're more informed, the better it is you give a tour and make it more memorable for the people.
What's your favorite part of this particular site?
My favorite part, I must say, one of the updated galleries. We have managed to have the Mazrui gallery that represents the local rulers that were there during the time of the Omanis, and the Oman House that showcases the culture of the Omanis when they came in. The kind of trade they were working in, the kind of attire different parts of Oman are dressed in, and exactly the modern Oman as represented right now. So it has really refreshed and revitalized the exhibitions that are currently existing here. It's modern, it's up to date, and it's amazing, if I'm to say so.
All right. I don't know if you got to hear a bit of the interview that I just had with the G-Clef dancers. And one of the things they mentioned is a lot of youth in Mombasa tend to indulge in a lot of deconstructive activity. But one of the things, or one of the activities you have here is that you allow artists to come and display their work.
Yes.
So if a young person is passionate about art, they have somewhere where they can come and display their work and benefit from the tourists to come here. Could you share more on that?
Outside the main gallery that exhibits ethnographic material and materials from underwater archaeology, we have space that is specifically set aside for temporary exhibitions. That means this exhibition keeps changing every 2 or 3 months. This is normally booked well in advance because it's, we normally show artists who want to display their works, and they have an opportunity to sell their works to the tourists that come in. So whoever is interested, be it work, be it crafts, be it anything that you feel you have a talent for and you want to come and exhibit, the platform is open and it's free to anybody who's interested in showcasing their
Where would
craft.
they need to go in order to sign up?
Oh, we have a booking office. They have a diary of who has booked well in advance. So you just have to walk in, make inquiries, and once there's a slot, you'll be slotted in. And sometimes you also facilitate to have your exhibition launched and publicized so that once it is known that there is an exhibition, then you have a lot of visitors coming in to see it also.
All right. What
Yes.
are the other activities you mentioned that you could share with the audience that take place here aside from coming to view the site in case they want to
Okay.
hire the space?
That's one thing, because being a unique and interesting space, we do hire the place for functions like weddings, corporate events, launching of products, cocktails. And this is also available. You just walk in, check the diary if there's a space available. It can only happen after the museum hours because, of course, we do function as a museum in the
Yes.
morning hours. Aside from that, we also offer training because we do receive interns that are normally in hospitality and visitor management. So they get trained on site on how to handle tourists and other activities. We have the potential to offer underwater archaeology because we have shipwrecks right along the seafront of Fort Jesus. So there's potential to explore that possibility to train in that also.
Okay.
Basically,
That's about it.
that's about it, yes.
Okay. All right. What are the other sites aside from Fort Jesus that you feel if today a domestic traveler or an international traveler who may be watching right now who's never been to while in Mombasa should visit?
We have Shimone. Shimone represents the history of slavery. There's artifacts and items that were used at that time. There is an exhibition in place, and there's so much more that people can learn about what is and not told about that. We also have Rabai, heritage site that is mainly highlighting the work of Dr. Kraft and his missionaries, and the concept of vocational training and Western formal education
Okay.
that was introduced in Kenya. It may have been the first of its kind that existed there. We have Jumba la Mtwana, we have Gede, that early Swahili settlements that Jumba is seafronting. It offers an opportunity to picnic along the sea after you've visited the site. So it's quite a bit that once you come to For Jesus, you learn more that you can explore and visit and learn on different aspects about the history and heritage of this country.
As an archaeologist, what is one of the most interesting finds you've made in your time?
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that because I'm an architect.
Oh, architect, sorry, I heard archaeologist.
No,
I was like, oh, okay.
architect,
Oh,
yes,
sorry,
yeah.
apologies for that.
Okay.
So now, I'd like to know one more thing. How much does it cost for a domestic traveler or an international traveler to come during peak times? Just so that they know it's not something ridiculous for them to check
it's
in.
standard. It doesn't change from peak to non-peak.
Okay, that's good.
For Kenyans, it's 200 shillings for adults and 100 for children under 18.
Okay.
For international tourists, it's 1,200 and 600 for children. But for what we call East Africans, it's 400 for adults and 200 for children. So it's pretty affordable.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it's a wrap now. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us. We got to witness the lunar eclipse from here tonight, which was absolutely beautiful. Because I mean, it's just the sky and us. Absolutely loved it. Thank you for having NTV on the road here as well. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
For Jesus represents a unique heritage that showcases an interchange of different cultures within time. It represents a dynamism of change and its flexibility to accommodate that. I believe that is exactly what we need to represent as Kenyans, as our heritage, in our dynamism, to accept and embrace change as it comes with flexibility. For Jesus has shown that it has survived time with all these changes, and Kenyans need to embrace that diversity and change as we move on. That way, that flexibility will allow us to succeed in anything that we try.